This happened 3 years ago, while I was still in college. It was the second week of college, right after the orientation. I was new to the place. It was a beach campus somewhere in Borneo. Literally just a 5-minute walk, we could enjoy playing in the beach right after class. It was my dream campus. Sun, the beach, and the ocean was magnificent. Every day we were blessed with a beautiful sunrise coming from the beach, and a beautiful sunset. If I wasn't busy, I would watch the sunset every single evening from my room. It's a small campus, so the buildings are very near to each other. I could even see the academic tower through my dorm room windows. My roommate was not always in the room, so I spent most of my time alone. The first week of orientation went well. I made new friends, which were also my classmates. But the only time we spent time and sit together were during classes. Right after class, we would part ways. My classes usually starts at 7:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. But sometimes there would be some extra classes in the evening, starting from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. I know it's strange, but I preferred classes in the evening because it's more convenient. There's only one academic building. I was the type of person to walk alone to anywhere. I didn't exactly have many close friends, but I was happy to meet new ones. Anyway, one day I was just wandering around the campus, just trying to get familiar with it. So I went from floor to floor in the tower. It was around 6:30 p.m., and it was already dark out. There wasn't much stuff happening, since it was after office hours. Therefore, not many people were there. Everything seemed normal, until I reached the 9th floor. When the elevator door opened, I froze. It opened to a dark and abandoned place, which I wasn't expecting at all. The floor was visibly thick with dust, meaning that nobody has ever set a foot in that floor for a long period of time. Aside from the darkness, all I could see were broken windows, furnitures, and loose wires hanging from the ceiling. At that point, I was just hoping that the elevator would close quickly on its own. But it didn't. I was starting to get creeped out, so I repeatedly pushed the button to close the door. I swear it felt like forever for the door to close. I was expecting something would jump at me, so it kept me on edge. As soon as it closed, I pushed the button to the lobby, then ran to my dorm in fear. I was surprised because no one told me that the 9th floor was abandoned. I went to sleep early that night. I even closed the curtains on my windows. The next day, during lunch, I overheard seniors telling freshmen to not go on the 9th floor. It appeared that since the early days, the floor has never been used before. It was because a woman was brutally murdered by one of the construction workers. At the time, the tower was still under construction. He later then killed himself on the same floor. Ever since that happened, whenever they arrange furniture on that floor, the next day it will be a complete mess. Months passed by and I had already forgotten about the incident I had on the 9th floor. I went to class as usual, but there was this one time where we had an extra class in the evening. But our lecturer came in late, so we had to extend it until 10:30. After class, me and two of my friends came up to her to ask questions about the lesson. Then she asked us to accompany her to her room, which was on the 10th floor, to take some books for our reference. We gladly agreed and went with her. At first, the elevator was going smoothly, but then suddenly it came to a complete stop. on the ninth floor. At the same time, the lights went out. Our lecturer told us to calm down because it was probably just a minor inconvenience, but one of my friends was already on the verge of crying. After what seemed like hours, the lights flickered back on. The lecturer quickly took us down to the lobby and told us to go back to our dorms. It was the most terrifying time of my campus life. I'm just glad I wasn't alone at the time. I'm Daniel, just a freshman in a college. It was Friday, the last day before the midterm break. My classmate and I went out to some party after class. You know what they say, time flies when you're having fun. So I ended up going home at 1 a.m. I rented a house with two of my friends, Adam and Eddie. They would usually return home on weekends. I shared a room with Eddie. I'm used to being alone in the house on weekends, and I do enjoy being alone sometimes. As I got home, it was so quiet, and no one was home as usual. I went to bed straight away after locking all doors. It's just a habit of mine to feel safe while I sleep, I guess. But my beauty sleep did not last long. Someone was knocking at the front door like a maniac at 3 in the morning. I got up and walked to the door so I could just stop the banging and go back to sleep. When I opened the door, it was Adam. It was strange because he should have his key, but I was too sleepy to even ask. I was awakened again, but this time I was freezing. To my surprise, the fan in the AC was not even switched on. So I got up to wash my face before going back to sleep for good. On my way, suddenly, I heard a loud heavy sound fell on the floor, which came from the other room, and as if on cue, the power went out. Slowly, I walked to the kitchen, but halfway there, chills ran through my neck. I heard unpleasant noises coming from the kitchen. But as I entered the kitchen, I froze. There were some figures sitting at the dining table. Trembling, I walked towards it, but in a blink of an eye, the shadow disappeared. Heavy breathing, I was still gasping for air, when suddenly I heard the bathroom door creaked open. To my shock and disbelief, someone came out of the bathroom. It was Adam. "What's wrong? You okay?" he said. Knowing that it was Adam, my fears subsided. We soon realized the dinner table was in a disturbing condition. It was disgusting and smelly. "Who left these?" asked Adam. Still in shock, I did not tell Adam of what I saw earlier, because I didn't want to scare him. We both decided to clean up the table. I washed the dishes while Adam took out the trash. While I was on it, I suddenly saw a pair of red eyes glaring at me through the window. I took a step back, and just like that, it disappeared. "What's that?" Adam asked. His eyes were wide open. The lights turned back on. It was such a relief. I grabbed and plugged in my phone to charge the battery. It was 5 a.m. We were watching the television until we fell asleep. My phone rang. When I picked up the call, it was Eddie. Hey, sorry, I just woke up. What's the emergency? I said. He later explained, get ready. I'm coming to get you. We need to go to the hospital. It's Adam. I was so confused. What? But he was with me. Then I looked around, but Adam was nowhere to be seen. Terrified, I ran to the front door. I was struggling to open the door when I heard footsteps coming from behind.
Where are you going, Dan?
I didn't have the guts to turn around. His tone was flat, as if he was angry. Chills ran down my spine.
So you found out, did you?